tonight. Come on in. Let's talk about it. Tonight, one of my little sugar wuggers she may have been a beautiful butterfly. I don't know. Wanted to talk about depression and anxiety. Well, those are two very broad subjects. So I decided I was going to split it up. I was not going to try to tackle both of them together. First, let me put this disclaimer out here. I am not a MD. I am not in the medical field at all. We are basically discussing for informational purposes only. So, giving y'all a few minutes to get into the chat and then we'll go for what we know. Hey, Carol Anna, if you need me to mod for you, I'll be happy to. Okay, I thought I gave you, or did I not? Hold on, let me see. Hold on, Carol Anna. Um, I got you, baby. I take all I can get. Thank you. Hey, Elaine, how you doing? Thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. Good evening, and thank both of you for the roses. I appreciate that. Hello, Miss Audrey. Lovely chat. How are you beautiful ladies doing? We are doing fine. So far, we just came in. No complaints over here. And I like it like that. I hate it when we off onto a topic and then somebody comes into your chat and it just overwhelms you when they take over with their complaint. Okay, it's okay to mention it, but can we kind of stick with the topic out here? Hey, Lawanda, how you doing? Okay, you got your little wrench. I see it. Hey, Miss Sandra McHenry, good evening to you. You're in the building for a minute. All right, that's all it's going to take. You can always catch the replay. Hello, Miss Tina. Thank you for the membership. You're quite welcome. Actually, YouTube picks the members. I just am blessed to be able to give out 10 a month, something new they've started. And they pick you, but you are most certainly welcome. And what I'm seeing is it picks people who may not come into the chat, but watch it from the bushes all the time. And to me, that's a blessing too, because it'll at least bring you out of the bushes to say thank you. And I understand people are in the bushes for many reasons out here on YouTube these days because it's not even the YouTube I started watching years ago. It has changed so much. There were a few reaction channels out here when I first started watching YouTube. And now, for the most part, I would say 80% of the channels on in this sector are reaction channels. I choose not to be. Mm-mm. I would rather bring topics and whatever I get and keep it moving. Okay. Hey, Miss Veronica, how are you tonight? You hit the like button on the way in. Thank you. I appreciate it. I used to have my coffee cup. I've graduated into the second year to the little bell ringing now. That's hitting that like button for Miss V, and I appreciate you. Okay. Miss Jackie Johnson is in the building as well. And y'all, of course, are going to be speaking to each other, and I love it. I don't have any problems with it. So tonight, I took a little time out of my really busy schedule. Hey, Auntie Millie, here's reporting for my first day on duty, and I appreciate that. And on time too. You go, girl. Um, so today I took a little time out of my busy schedule at work because it is truly, truly busy. Friday can't come fast enough. I was asked to take on an extra assignment and I already had an assignment today. And I looked at the clock and I'm like, no, it's 1 o'clock. We're leaving here at 2 o'clock. It's no way I can do what you asking me to do in 1 hour. And I'm that type of individual where I don't feel like if I'm gonna give it my all and my best, I'd rather turn it down. Mm-mm. It's not that critical to me. Hey, to Justy, how you doing? Queen got the bell. I got that bell. Um, that's where I be in the bushes most of the time. I'm in the car or doing something else and just listen. And that's fine with me. I don't have to have 300, 400, 500 people in the chat. For as long as the end of the night or the next day or whenever, the views are there. That means you watched, okay? Um, but I do appreciate, from time to time, if you can come into the chat, it may be something that you can give us some information because we all are learning from each other. Like I've said, you never get too old to learn. I will be, and I'm a student for life. I've told y'all that before. I don't have a problem learning stuff because I got sense enough to know I don't know everything. Just because I've been here 70 years don't mean I know everything. There's a lot still to learn. A world of stuff out there that I can still learn. Okay. Um, let's see. Your topic is on point. Been watching Judge Tala, the retired divorce judge, is dealing with depression. She lost her husband. Few months in her life's been upside down. It can happen to anybody. None of us are secured from it. I mean, we all can be subjected to it, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And it's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's nothing that you need to go in a closet and hide because that's going to only cause more problems. I'm going to suggest to you that once we start into conversation and we start talking about the different types of depression and what causes depression and the treatment for depression and all of that, that you seek medical advice. Like I said, this is for informational purposes only. And I got my research from the Mayo Clinic as well as my experiences in psychology while working on my master's at the University of Houston in Clear Lake. I've never been into a clinical situation, only in class. That's it. Because I realized I had gotten into something that I was not going to be able to do. I didn't want to hear about people's problems all day, every day. I can listen to you, but do not nag me 8 hours with it. And that's what was going to be happening. And you were going to be coming back week after week. Some things are for you in life, some things are not. And I realized that's not for me. It did help me in my business. When I opened up the beauty salon and the barber shops, I may not say anything, but I read people pretty well. I don't say anything because I don't need or want people coming from me. I know how to back away from them. Still be nice, still be friendly. But what I found out when you back away from people, they have a problem with you. But I tend to think it's not my problem, it's their problem. Okay. Hey, real yo yo, you're here. I love it. Thank you for the roses. Charlene is in the building also. Blessings to all. Charlene also rang that bell, and I appreciate that as well. Alex is here and she has her wrench tonight also. So I have some new mods and I needed them because as you can see, I have some very good mods who really, really been going through a challenge with the trolls, the children coming through. But hopefully that is subsiding because I found a few things in my YouTube studio that I had to go in and correct. And I don't want to talk about it because I don't even want that person to know that I know that they're that low down and dirty. But I have one more other thing that I need to correct in there. And we should have the trolls out, just the regular trolls, not coming in where y'all can't even make a comment. So let's see. Okay. Ms.V, hello to you, Queen. Much love to you, Alex. Hey, Nup Tiger, how are you doing? Moving on down. Hello, chat from Alex and Mods. Much love, queens and kings. Okay. Miss Tammy Topics is back in here with us again tonight and speaking to everyone. So we're going to stop right there. We're coming up on 9 minutes. Um, I know for a fact that we're probably going to spend a couple of days on this because it's too broad. I couldn't even do anxiety with depression. So I chose to do just the depression tonight and get through as much as I could, and then come back and maybe finish it up if I have more information or if y'all have more information, and then we'll hit on anxiety. They totally different. And I don't want anybody to get confused and mixed up. All right? So the first thing that I felt necessary for us to discuss was, what is depression? We hear about it all the time, and I'm sure we all have our own definition of it. But I looked up the clinical definition, and it read a mental health disorder characterized by persistently depressed mood or loss in interest. Well, I had a problem with the definition because I was always taught that you can't define a word with the word. Depress is the root word of depressed and depression or any other word that may come from it. But that was their definition, and they have the letters behind their name, and I don't, so I'm going along with it, okay? Uh, it may be a cause of depressed mood swings, a loss of interest in activities, causing significant impact in your daily life. Let me go up. I'm going to try to keep up with the chat as we talk about it. Hello, Ethan. Okay. Ethan, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to time you out because we're not talking about that. The subject is depression. And over here with Chatting with Ms.V, we stick with the subject matter, not to get off onto something else and not even talk about the topic that we came out here to talk about. The topic was actually suggested to me by my subscribers. So I want to do what they want me to do. Okay? Thank you, y'all. Hey Carla, how you doing? I am Michelle for Life is in the building, and Miss Aretha. So that was the clinical definition that I found. And like I say, the research that I did came from the Mayo Clinic, as well as my experiences working on a master's at the University of Houston. So I guess the next thing we should try to delve off in, what are the possible causes? They can include a combination of biological, psychological, and social sources of distress. Yo, speaking to you, I am for life. Okay. So that within itself makes it very difficult to diagnose. If you are a clinical psychologist or a psychotherapist or anything dealing with the mind, it's very hard to get into my mind when you don't know me, when I'm going to you for help. I haven't been around. I don't know where it started. So it's going to take many sessions to get into my brain to figure out what's really going on in there. And the brain is a bit different. We've talked about the brain out here. I have a video that talked about every part of the brain last year, early on, probably around, I don't know, last summer. I think that's when it was, or either last fall. But nevertheless, it's very difficult to diagnose. You may know that you're depressed, but you may not know the degree of the depression or what level of depression you are depressed. So, research suggests these factors may cause changes in your brain function, including altered activity of certain neural circuits in the brain. I often think of the brain as an ironing card. Once it frays, you can tape it back together, you can mend it, but you can never fix it. That's why it's very important to keep your brain and the brain functions intact. You can heal most other parts of your body, even transplant other organs to major organs in your body. But so far, nobody has done a brain transplant at this time, to my knowledge. Okay? So let's try to figure out why it happens and some of the things you may be able to do to fix it. Okay? There are over 3 million cases in the US per year. That's a lot of depressed people. A lot of it, in my opinion, we bring upon ourselves because we're into somebody else's business that ends up depressing us. So I'm going to put this little tidbit in there right now. Social media has pretty much taken over our watching TV now. Most of us watch more YouTube, Facebook, and other social media channels than we do TV these days. Because if you don't have a lot of channels to watch and you don't have the latest TVs with Tubi for movies and stuff like that, and when I see people out here all day long on YouTube, that can be very depressing, depending on who you're watching, because it becomes a major part of your life. You get too involved in something that doesn't really have anything to do with your life. You really don't know the people anyway. You only know what is being said about the people or what they come out here and say. And then people start reacting on it. Okay? So it's treatable by a medical physician, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing to know that if you become depressed, you don't always have to stay depressed. And it's almost like any other disorder or disease. The earlier you detect it, the better off you're going to be. The main thing I see is you have to be honest with yourself. I know me at this point in my life better than anybody else. Even if my mother was alive, she wouldn't know me as well as I know me because she wouldn't have been around me every day. She knew me from birth until I left her home. And she would know me pretty well of things I would do and things I wouldn't do or things I might say or wouldn't say. But after that, she really wouldn't know me personally. Um, her living in one state and me living in another. You definitely have to watch what you watch. You can absorb people's energy, and that's a fact. That's a fact. Um, let's see, did I miss anything? Auntie Millie is speaking, and the rest of y'all are still speaking as you come in. And you'll get so entwined and so entangled in this stuff until it becomes a major part of your life. You're not really enjoying your life, and depression or anxiety may set in, and you're not even aware. I can almost tell the people who watch a lot of YouTube from channel to channel, and they mainly go into the same types of channels, reaction channels where they can react. And I often think, when do they have time for their life? If they're out here on YouTube all day long, from this channel to that channel. I've been there and done that through the pandemic. And it got so depressing to me. First of all, I can't go out without a mask. I need to social distance. All of this stuff is in play. And then people are out here and they don't really know what a person is going through. And it could be depression behind losing a family member. It could be depression. You got to go listen to this person because you like that person and get even depressed even more. Because you're going to go through maybe a slight depression. Hopefully, it does not turn into severe depression, that you have enough faith in God to know that He's going to bring you through. You have enough sense to know that you came here to die. So um, you can get a grip on it. All right. Let's see. Miss Millie, it may be something you get to later, but they have tests for depression. Uh-huh. And I will. Hold on, it jumped on me. To differentiate several diagnostic tests. Anxiety may present similarly, but it's different. We can discuss in detail later. Okay. And that's why I didn't want to get too deep in it, Auntie, because you do have a degree in it. I was going to do informational purposes only and life experiences. That's all I can give. And when you get your commentary together, then you can come on from a professional viewpoint, a professional standpoint. Okay. Um, the C word took a lot of people through depression. It did, and they're still in it, some people, because they haven't recovered from it, Alex. I seen it firsthand. Yes. Life was good before it happened. Maybe they lost their job through it, or they lost family members through it, or they went into a financial burden because of it. Um, you just never know what people are going through because you don't really know them. You know them out here on social media, but what's going on really in their real life, if they don't bring it to you, you don't know. Mm-mm. You can kind of tell through conversation they're going through something because their whole energy, their whole life is just done on about face. Something is going wrong there. I can pick up on it. Hey, Evelyn, how are you this evening? Yes, people are still trying to come from it. They're trying to bounce back. And ironically, I have some commentary on, I think I'm going to call it surviving the pandemic. And I've just about finished it up. So once we get off of this, that's what we're going to. So y'all may have suggestions that I don't have. And you know how we jump in and we all discuss things together. Okay. So back to depression. It is treatable. Um, by a medical professional, that is. Very doubtful if you're going to be once it gets to severe depression, if you're going to be able to treat yourself. If you can catch it in the beginning and you can see the signs and symptoms, you can overcome it yourself a lot of times. Alex says, I found myself driven with anxiety during the beginning. It was hard being locked up. I'd never been locked up. It was like a jail sentence to me. And it was so long. And everywhere you went, you couldn't hug anymore, or you couldn't shake hands anymore, or it was like you were out here in the world with people, but you were away from the people. And that's what bothered me. And just being inside all day long, that was killing me. I only went out when I had to. But I kept telling myself, I'm not going to let this depress me. So you know me, I found plenty to do in the house every day. I tried to watch a little YouTube, but then I would get away from it. I watch it in the mornings. If I watched it in the morning, I got away from it in the evening. And I went and did things I like to do. And that's important too. People need hobbies. They need things to do and create other than just watching TV and just looking at YouTube. Okay. Hey, Miss Wanda Clayton, how are you this evening? All right. So, where am I? It can resolve within when it's slight depression. But when it gets to be severe depression, you will have to seek some clinical services from a medical physician, psychiatrist, whatever you want to call them. It requires a medical diagnosis. Lab tests or imaging are rarely required. And I'm going to let Auntie Mimi get into that part of it, okay? So I want to again put this disclaimer out here that this is for informational purposes only. Consult your local medical authorities for advice. All right. Alex is saying we definitely had to adjust. I couldn't even go to the gym. Ooh, wee. No, because you didn't want to touch something that somebody else had touched, and you definitely didn't want to be breathing that closed in air. Even though you had a mask on, it didn't fully protect you, like fit like a glove, like elastic there. Okay. The air could seep in, and it's an airborne um I don't know if you want to call it disease or whatever, but it's airborne. It's no different than a common cold, the flu, or pneumonia. The riots, not knowing what we were facing exactly, and didn't know if we were going to have any type of vaccines or anything that was going to help us, because in the beginning people were falling and dying, and they didn't last long when they first caught it. But thanks to, I forgot the black lady's name who came up with the vaccine, but uh, she was, I want to say, she looked appeared to be early 40s, and I really thank her. Um, I still wear a mask. Look at here. Look at here. At school, around those kids, every day on that bus. First of all, they keep codes. And I'm working with special needs. So they're going to not always ask for a napkin or a Kleenex for their nose. They may just blow it. Okay. And sometimes they love to wipe it on the mirror or on the windows, on the seat. So you got to keep that bus sterilized after each run. I'm up with gloves on, wiping down everything before we pick up the next load, because I don't want them giving it to me, nor do I want to give anything to them. I only have one child out of the 34 children that wears a mask every day, and this morning he forgot his mask. So we keep masks on the bus. And when he got on the bus, Miss Diane recognized right away he didn't have his mask on. And she offered him one, and he took it. And he's special needs. Hey, Miss Candy Jones, how are you? Miss Charlene, yo, me too, young people. Okay, I'm not sure what that's all about. So, back to our depression. I need some glasses too, so I can see a little bit better. These will work. So, the source I told you of this information comes from the Mayo Clinic and courses that I took at the University of Houston. Some of the things that you may look for that may change when you're going through depression: your appearance. You're not really interested. You may not even see yourself in the mirror looking like you're supposed to look or like you used to look. Hey, true girl. Sure, you can join the live. Okay? Come on in. Um, Feelings of sadness, hopelessness, pessimism, emptiness, fatigue, a lack of energy, insomnia, or sleep issues, such as waking up very early in the morning or sleeping too much. Okay, I can't see what that says. Okay, it's Auntie Millie. Oh, you wanted that comment. I read it as she wanted to get in here with you. I assumed she was just coming into the chat and she wanted to know if she was welcome here. That's the way I took it. So unblock her if you blocked her, and let's just see. I don't want to block anybody who wants to come in and have a decent conversation. Auntie. All right. So depression also affects, hey, Misty, how you doing? Good to see you as well. We're talking about depression tonight, Misty. It affects how you feel, how you think, and how you behave. I see it more so having worked in a business with a bunch of ladies before, it tends to show up from week to week. If they came in on a weekly basis, I could always tell when something was wrong. Thank you, Yo Yo. Um, with them, or if something was going on, it may not have been depression, it just could have been anything. But they didn't come in the same way. If they came in happy and bubbly all the time, and all of a sudden they came in dragging, it could have been health issues. And people can get depressed from almost anything out of their normal routine or their normal lifestyle. It's okay, Auntie. Um, she's a kid, Ms.V. Okay, y'all do what y'all do then. Okay, I'm leave. I let my moderators be my moderators. All right. Um, where was I? It affects how you feel, how you think, or how you behave, and it can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems. And that is what I don't think a lot of people understand. When it says emotional, you get that. But physical means tearing up your organs inside, creating stomach ulcers, headaches, migraines, all kind of stuff can start happening to your body. And I think the people that um hold it in are the worst, are those who are in denial of it. I dealt with a person since the 80s, the early 80s, or the late 70s, I think we actually met. And she was clinically depressed. I didn't realize what her problem was. I just knew she was never a happy person unless she was drinking, or money had come in, money would change her moods. Or if she got something materialistic in her life, she was upbeat. But you could always tell when money was funny, or when there was something she really wanted. She would go into this stupor, into like a depressed mode, and just, she would depress you to be around her. And I was like, wow, I can't do this often. But I remained friends with her, but I just couldn't go around all the time, or much less call. And then there was some problems that I saw she had with me, because I'm very open, I'm very outspoken. I'm usually a happy-go-lucky type of person. I'm not going to let things get to me and affect me and take me into no depression. You have enough things in life that come in your life by just being you, living your life, much less to let somebody come out here who doesn't know you and put you into a state of depression, or where you feel like you got to come out here and defend yourself on a daily basis. I don't have time. I don't want to. And I'm definitely not going to be sitting off in a corner wondering why she said that, why she did that. That's what leads people into depression. You got to be a very strong person, and especially out here on social media, because it's always the people who don't know you've never been in your life that's got something to say. And if you're not strong, it can become very depressing because everything goes on out here, from hacking to scamming to begging to borrowing to stealing. Everything happens out here. So disassociate, disconnect yourself from it, and you won't have a problem with it. Because if you don't know what a person is saying about you, you don't really care. You don't hear it, you don't watch. It's the people who watch. Why would you go over to a channel for somebody to put you in a state of depression if you know they're talking about you? You should have enough security, enough self-esteem within yourself to know, okay, well, I already heard you try to put me down, try to bash me, lie on me. So why do you think I'm gonna keep coming over there to hear what you got to say? Or why do you think I'm gonna keep going back and forth with you? You wasting my time. I done hit my 4 score and 10. I'm not doing it. Uh-uh. Miss Jackie, that had to be scary. I am happy you made it through it. God is good. Okay, did I miss what Miss Jackie said? I obviously did. But you're right. God is good. And through some times in your life, when you're going through depression or anxiety, He is the person that you really need to talk to. Before you go to your pastor, who only knows you maybe from being in church, or a clinical psychiatrist or psychologist, try him. Ask him to relieve you of this. Remove these people out of your life. You know when people are causing you problems. You know when people are not good for you. Why hang in there with them if they've already shown you who they are? I got too many other people I'm trying to meet. Okay, it didn't work out. Go on about your business. And that's how I get through a lot of things in life. I don't dwell on them. I don't care. It doesn't mean enough to me because I don't really know them anyway. Um, hey, Kiss the Ring, how are you doing this evening? All right. So there are some diagnoses that a careful psychiatrist can examine you and make medical history from your background, from your DNA. Because sometimes it's genetic also. What you may be going through, whatever type of disorder, disease, or whatever, could be genetic. So they got to find all that information out too by a mental health professional, a professional only, okay, can really truly diagnose you. And it takes time, like I say, because they don't know you when you walk in that office. They don't know what you've been through until you tell them. And you have to be perfectly honest and open with them if you're going to get the help you need. Okay? Most of the treatments are through medical, medicine, Western medicine, as well as talking therapy. You got to talk to the people to find out what caused this. How did you get there? And then trying to prescribe the right medication. It does not always work with the brain the first time. You may have to go through several different types of medicine to cure that problem. Because again, there are different levels of depression. Ms. V, in your opinion, would you say a person that is negative all the time may be suffering from depression? Yeah, some form of depression. Something happened. It may not be severe, but they have picked it up as a lifestyle now. And that's how they get through life. They deflect off of me or you or somebody else. And because their life is not what it should be, or they're not where they want to be. And usually it's the people that's less than. And when I say less than, have less than you, less education, less material things, less monetary value in life, They don't live how you live. They don't live in a home you live in. They don't drive the kind of cars you've driven. None of that. So y'all not on an even keel. And that's when that jealousy comes in and they start trying to compare their life to yours. And they fall into a depressed stage because they may be at a stage in life, if they're 40 and over, where you may have done it in your 20s and your 30s, and you far beyond that. You looking at something else in life. So that's another reason why a younger person should never try to compare their life with an older person. Y'all are never going to be on the same level. They've lived more years. They've had the opportunity to have more, to do more. Stay on your level with people, like-minded people, because some people can really become depressing to you. I've met a few out here on YouTube that are very depressing. They bring their troubles into your life on a daily basis. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physician. I don't have an MD. I don't have a PhD behind my name. Go to the people who can really help you. I can only give you advice through experiences from my life having lived this long. Let me go back up. Depression can be hidden too. Exactly. Some people walk through depression a lifetime and they master depression. I have a friend whose brother looked like just any average, ordinary person. But she calls me up about a month ago and she had come to visit and she went back to the state that she came from. And she told me what had happened to her brother. It was unbelievable to me. Great job, married with kids, and you mean to tell me you tried to commit suicide? And that's the thing with suicide. Normally, a lot of people don't even see it coming. They can be so normal acting, hidden, like you say, I am Michelle for life. He was in the hospital with a trach. I forgot, but he put a gun and messed up on the side of his face. And then he had to put a trach in because all his mouth is messed up. Don't know if he'll ever be the person that we really knew again because his brain is messed up now. Then he has taken himself through whatever was depressing him to get to that point of suicide. It's going to be even more depressing now because this was a very, very nice looking young man. I think he's probably early 50s. And I just never saw it coming. His family never saw it coming. I'm sure his wife never saw it coming, or they would have tried to get him some help. His sister was in the nursing field. His mother was in the nursing field. They were around him. Friends were around him. So you just never know what people are going through. Hey, Chef Mac. Charlene said, facts, Michelle. Some people are real good at hiding. They are, Charlene. Very good. They live a whole life and you never knew how depressed they really were. They're crying behind closed doors. They're hurting inside. And until they start doing things out of the normal, you're not going to see it. Their pride is too high to get help. That could be, Chef, or just maybe since they've gotten away with it so long, they just want to just continue doing what they're doing. But then I would think that's where you would be going through both of them, depression and anxiety. Because once you get out with people and you're trying to come out of that depressed stage, anxiety is probably going to kick in because you're thinking, what are they thinking about me? What are they talking about? Are they looking at me? All these things are running through your head. I don't want to live like that. I don't care. Mm-mm. Think whatever you want to think, say whatever you want to say. It bothers me not. I think they called it high functioning depression. You're correct. Alex, Michelle says, when you don't think that people know, wait a minute, when you don't think that no one will understand. Oh, when you don't think that no one will understand or that people will judge you, and people are so quick to judge you, could be all off balance, all off the Richter scale, but they will come out here with their judgmental selves, and they can tell you everything about you and don't know you. You don't know nothing about them, but they quick to judge you, and that's not their job. How do you think God put you in that position to judge me, to judge you? I can't come out here judging who y'all are. That's not my job. He didn't assign that to me. He said he would judge you. We'd all get caught up in midair. The dead would rise first and he'd do the judging. But we are some judgmental people. I'm talking about us, black folks. I ain't talking about no other race. Us folks, okay? People tend to keep it to themselves, and that might be a reason why. Because they don't want to be judged by their peers, by people they're around every day. Yeah, I think one of the saddest funerals I ever went to when I was working at Amoco, one of my co-workers' son was fine. My daughter had bought an instrument from him. She wanted to play the saxophone. He had stopped playing the saxophone. We bought the saxophone, went and bought her a new mouthpiece and some reeds, and went over to the house to pay the man the $800 for it and pick it up and bring it home. Probably about 4 or 5 months later, this boy went out to the pump house. They had a well, okay? So he goes out to the pump house on a Sunday morning, and everything went fine that Saturday night with his other two siblings who were younger. Took them to the store, bought ice cream, they watched movies together, and that Sunday morning, he blew his brains out. Nobody saw it coming. And why I say it was one of the saddest funerals I've ever gone to is because there was nothing there but children. He was 11th grade in high school. And none of them could not believe it. Chef Mac is speaking and saying, Michelle, big facts. Alex, I always tell my friends, never be ashamed to seek therapy. No, you need help. You need help. You're not going to get any better if you don't get the help. Hey, Miss Tina, I fell into that trap of letting people unload their burdens onto me. You can't. I had to tell a lady out here on YouTube, please stop bringing all your burdens into my chat every time you come in here. I didn't understand why she would do that, and she would do it from chat to chat. And I'm like, that's not what we're talking about. I mean, I can empathize with you. Excuse me. I can sympathize with you, but that's all I can do. But that's some people. I don't know if she just didn't have anybody else to talk to, so she felt like she had to bring it to social media. I don't know. Yeah, my hand hurts. Yeah, my leg hurts from time to time. It's old. Things are wearing out. But I'll be darned if I'm coming out here and complain every day to y'all. Y'all would get tired of that. Y'all don't want to hear that every day. Y'all want some upbeat. Y'all might have had a bad day. Here I come out here talking about, I went to the doctor today and oh, I got arthritis in my hand. Y'all know my knees is wore out. Okay, my breast is sagging. Who cares? I don't want to hear that. Okay. Tina says, most people don't know what I deal with daily in my life. I listen and try to give positive feedback with a smile. And Tina, like we said before, there are jobs out here that are very challenging. I was on one for 20 years as one of the first Black women hired in the lab out there with a bunch of Caucasian men and very few Mexicans. Nobody knew what I was dealing with. You think that place was easy to go and stay in there with them people 12 hours and do your work? Because if you didn't do it and you made mistakes, you could blow up whole cities. I was in a chemical plant. Yeah. So I get that. But you need to stop. Take some deep breaths. Take a walk. Get out of that environment that you're in, even if it's for the moment, so you can gather your thoughts and come back with a real smile on your face. Okay? Drink some water. Do whatever you have to do to take you to a better place in your mind. Think about a vacation that you're going to take, or your children, how wonderful they've done in life, and just anything that's positive to get you out of that negativity or that negative mindset of what you're dealing with. Hi, Siobhan. How are you? Things that hurt will not be shown because of pride, and things that have happened in their lives, and no one will care no matter how they speak. Exactly. You are correct. And welcome to Chatting with Ms.V. Okay. Alex says, I think it is also have to do with upbringing. That could be a major part of it, because you think you're with whoever raised you longer, for a very long time. I'll put it that way. Most people are there at least 18 years. Very few jump out before then, but most people are there 18. If they're going on to college, they away at college, but they still with their parents. And how your parents raised you. My mom was a type much like me. I got a lot of this from her. She let the troubles of the world bother her unless they were hers. And she was such a Christian woman. She'd go in there, she'd pick up that Bible and find somebody in the Bible who had been through the same thing she was going through, and pray about it and go on about her business. And she'll say it'll work itself out. Most of the time it did. My daddy was the total opposite. He was a worrier. He worried about every little thing, mostly his family. He was big into his children and making sure that his children got education so they could go out and be independent and take care of themselves. And he would work his fingers to the bone. If it meant getting out there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I remember one time I told you he was a farmer. He stayed out there until 12 o'clock one night and fell asleep on the tractor and had discs behind him. You know, the metal disc that breaks up the ground, fell off and broke some ribs. But thank God he didn't fall backwards and fall on the disc, and they cut him up because the tractor was going to still be moving. Yeah. So I got a little bit of both of them. I think I picked up both of them strength, because he was strong in one area where she may have been weak in another, and they blended quite well. Okay. Alex says, I think it is also have to do with upbringing when it comes to therapy. Yep. And then we as Black people in my era, coming up in my day, you were crazy. If you had to go see a psychotherapist, psychologist, or whatever, you were crazy. That's the stigma they put on you, as if you couldn't have problems. But the other races would always go. It's always been a part of their lifestyle. Michelle is agreeing with you, Tina. And Chef Mac is saying, Tina, get out of my head. Okay. Tajisti, I'm here listening, Queen, just speechless. You know, I never saw my circle of friends took her own life due to depression. It can get that severe. That's the last stage of it, is suicide. Yeah. And it can be several different types of depressions that some people can be suffering with, along with other disorders like being bipolar. And this is something we didn't know about in my day growing up. We didn't know nothing about nobody being bipolar. That we just thought that's who they were. Okay. Hey, Linda P. Good evening. Just tuning in. Okay, come on in, Linda. We talking about depression and things that cause depression and may lead to depression. Tina says, I've cried with people I don't know, and I can't cry for myself because I've taught myself to be strong. Yes, Tina, but at some point you're going to get older and it you don't want a mild depression to go into something major. So, I would only suggest as a layperson out here talking with y'all tonight that you seek counseling and get the proper help you need to get through whatever problem you may be having. And it's none of our business what it is, but do talking therapy and see what they suggest. Okay. Chef Max says another thing that I hate is when someone asks for help, the first thing that comes out their mouth is pray and talk to God. That burns my, yes, because at that point, if they really knew God, they wouldn't be in that state of mind. And I totally agree with you, Chef. Yep. That's good information, but you got to realize this person is out of their normal character. This is not who they really, really are. So at that point, do you think they're going to really believe that God can heal them or help them anyway? Probably not. Mm-mm. Or they never would have got to where they are. They'd have had enough faith. They'd have had enough everything they needed to get through it. Okay. Hey, Millie, there's less of a stigma among the younger generation for seeking mental health treatment. These days, you are correct. And parents are different now too. Like my daughter's age and younger, she's in her early 40s. They, if they saw something wrong with the grandkids, my grandkids, they would take them. Where I never even looked for nothing. I mean, she acted normal, she made the grades, she socialized well. So I never saw a need or never even thought about it. Maybe if she had gotten out of her normal behavior, I probably would have. I definitely wouldn't have been ashamed. Okay. Alex says, oh my God, that is so sad. Okay, Javon, life is not always what you see or hear. Sometimes you need to ask and be around people. Being lonely will hurt. Therapy is an outbreak, but not a solution. Exactly. You got to get to the root cause of the problem. And like I said, I think, AT Millie, I don't know if you agree with this, but I think that's where the talking therapy comes in when you're trying to get to the root cause of what actually caused this depression. So, some of the diagnosis, like I said, you need to go to a psychotherapist or psychologist to get a thorough exam. They need to look for behavioral as well as physical symptoms because if you've had it long enough, some physical symptoms might have shown up. Changes in your sleep, your appetite, your energy level, your concentration, your daily behavior, or your self esteem. And last, thoughts of suicide. Okay, let's go on. Alex says they are energy drainers. Yes, ma'am. Hey, don't do me. Welcome. I'm the type of person that people will just walk up to me and start talking, and I just listen because that's all I want sometimes is just someone to just listen. Um, it depends on what they're talking about with me. I am Michelle. Miss Diane is a great big talker. She loves to talk. But a lot of times I have to tune it out because it doesn't have anything to do with me. And she's talking to me for suggestions. But I can't make a suggestion on a lot of things that she's talking to me about because It's not my finances, it's not my life, and it's not my business. So I just sit there and I may shake my head or whatever, or I might look down and start doodling and doing something else, and she'll catch the hint. I don't want to talk about it. Okay. Um, let's see. Carol Anna, Ms.V, I had a coworker son get into her weapons cabinet, ooh, and did the same thing to himself. This was early 2000s, and I can't imagine what it's like now for teens with this social media. Horrible. One of the alternative school is next to the bus barn, which used to be the junior high school that my daughter went to when she went there. They dress those kids all in black so they can identify them. It's separate from any campus. Okay, it used to be a junior high school, it's an alternative school. You would be surprised how many kids are over there. And these people are working with them to try to find out what the problem is. How did they get there? And I'm seeing it on the special needs bus with two of my kids. They have a behavioral teacher, and she's bringing them to the bus at least once a week for problems. One of my students gave me the letter that he was taking home to his mama and told me to read it. His behavior was awful. He stomped, he kicked, he cursed, he slapped, he bullied a student. Um, he ran away from the line when they were walking from the cafeteria to the class. I was talking to him and I was like, why are you doing this? Now I know this child is going through a lot. He's special needs, but not severe. He was just adopted. He's getting used to his new mother. There is no father figure there, and his new sisters, and they are spoiling him rotten. But when I sit down and I talk to him, we can really, really communicate. Like this morning, I told him when he was getting off the bus, I said, come here, we need to talk for a minute. I said, now the letter that I read yesterday, I don't want to ever read another letter like that again. You are too smart. You are a handsome little boy, and you're not going to be on this bus with me always. If you apply yourself, you could go to, it's your behavior that has you on this bus. You're not artistic. So don't even associate yourself with that. You're on here because you go to the behavioral classes that's in the special needs building, okay? But you need to wean yourself from that and you need to start trying to do your work. So I asked him, I said, how old are you? He told me he was 8 years old. I said, you are even having a problem with another young man on the bus. I think they're the same age, and he really wants to be this guy's friend, but he doesn't want to be a friend of his because he stays in trouble all the time. And I tried to explain that to him. It's not that he doesn't like you, he doesn't like your behavior. You got to get that in check, and you'll have a lots more friends. People are straying away from you because they see the trouble you're getting in. Your mother is having to be called to the school. You're sitting in the principal's office. Come on, I know you can do better than that. He came to the bus this evening and he told me, he said, Miss V, I apologized to my teacher today. And I told her that I was going to do my best to do better. I said, wonderful. Let's keep it going. We only got 2 more months to go. Okay? So he promised me he would. Um, let's see. Where is Alex? 18 or older, your youth is a very important learning time. Yes, it is. Um, that's the most critical stages in life. And the hardest stage is going to be going through adolescence, becoming a woman or becoming a man. I cried all the time. Every little thing hurt me. If they didn't say it in the right tone, I was crying. But thank God I had the mother I had who kind of talked me through that. I didn't have any sisters. I only had brothers. So they would just look like she's the baby because I was the baby for 12 years. She just spoiled. That's it. That's the way they looked at it. Um, Chef says, my friend's son just hung himself and he was 21 last month. And it was so hard to talk to him, not knowing what to say. Exactly. You just got to find a way and get them the help that can help them. Don't Do Me says a lot of people don't like going to the therapy. Now they think they don't need it. It's like almost like dealing with an alcoholic or a drug addict. They're not they're never going to admit that they are, even though you see them drinking every day and falling down drunk and slurring their speech and doing all the signs of an alcohol. They are not going to admit it because they've gotten used to being in that stage that they're in. Sad but true. Alex, yes, my mom was a therapist, but never wanted me to see one. She is from the silent generation. Yeah, I came from that generation, and as well as my parents. Um, and my mom was a school teacher, so it wasn't in the classroom back then. Even kids that I look back on now that should have had special needs class to go to or behavioral class to go to, they had the strap in the classroom. So they got it just like everybody else and they behaved just like everybody else. Jesus was in the classroom back then, first thing in the morning. So when those two things left out of the classroom, we're seeing a different classroom now. Yep. Um, Yo-Yo, you're not playing around tonight. No, she is not. Yo-Yo is never playing around. She get them up out of here. Javon, just hearing you speak the truth is good enough for me. Okay. Alex. Oh no, Chef Mac. That is sad news, Chef Mac. You hate to see anybody leave here, much less leave like that, because they left confused. Something happened. Kiss the ring. I worked with someone whose BF murked her. She was very positive and upbeat. At her funeral, her mother said she was dealing with DV and she was very depressed. She never showed it, and a lot of people don't. Most people who are suicidal, a lot of them, you don't see it. You just, a lot of them don't leave a note behind, so you never knew what happened. They're just gone. Okay. Therapy is good when you're going through life changes. It's very good to be able to talk to somebody. It's not like back in the old days when they had um, electrodes on your head and stuff, shocking you and all that, which they found out later that doesn't work. But that's what they did. And I think that's what a lot of that silent generation coming along associated with. Well, they're going to diagnose me as crazy and they're going to send me to the crazy house. No, things have come a long ways. We still got a long ways to go, but things have come a very long ways. Alex says, please ring that bell, and it's greatly appreciated. Getting on down. Yes, it is, Jackie. I went for years for my OCD and anxiety. And that's another thing that a lot of people don't understand is OCD. It just happens. Anxiety, it just happens. Something triggers it, something causes it, but it happens. Okay? It's a lifesaver. We all need to take a moment for self. Exactly. Linda P., yes, Lady V, during the era that we were raised in was a stigma. Yes, ma'am. In my opinion, from personal experience, your mental is just as important as your physical, if not more, because if you have your mind, you can do whatever or have someone else to do what you physically can't do. But we concentrate more on the physical, getting our hands to work again, our heart to work again. But if the brain is gone, it doesn't matter. You're useless. You're a vegetable. I think I just said that the other night. If everything else on me stopped working for as long as I got my brain, I can come and tell Alex I need a drink of water. Alex, can you push me over here? You see what I'm saying? But if the brain is not working, you just walk around in a stupor every day. You don't even know where you are. I don't want to be like that. and everything else is working, and just walking away from home and don't even know where I'm going or how I'm going to get there because my mind just told me to leave? That's dangerous. Okay. Miss Jackie Johnson says, Alex, that's great. Been myself. It's really helped me with dealing with adjusting with the changes. And that's what we all have to do. We all go through something, whether it was in your younger years, your midlife crisis, because even going through menopause is a big change in your life. And you could go through depression from that, depending on how severe it is and how long it lasts. Yeah. You got to have a pretty strong mind when your body is internally hot from the inside and nothing you can do from the outside is cooling it down until it passes. That's very depressing. Not seeing the sun can be very depressing. It causes a lot of people in states where it's dark a lot. People are turn into alcoholics, into drug addicts. There's no energy not seeing the sun. Jesus, that's not the topic tonight. Jesus. Okay. Um, and also for the moderators, once you hide them, that's blocking them. You don't have to time them out. I don't know who this was. I think it was Chef. Just hide them and that will block them. Because he's been in here before. Some in their opinion may view therapy means that you are weak. No, it's not. You could be a very strong person, but the brain and the mind and the body can only take so much, okay, before you snap and just lose it. I could have lost it today on one of my coworkers at work. I went out to do the buses to make sure no child was left behind on the bus because it was like 70, I think it was 74 degrees when I walked out there. So you don't want no child left behind on that metal bus, and you go back out there and the child and suffocated because ain't no windows open, the doors are closed, or child got too hot and passed away. So we do it 3 times a day at the school that I work at. So I had the midday shift today, and I went in and I had my food. I sit down and I ate my food, and then I had to wait on the special needs buses because they have a midday run into Houston with some of the kids. And so I was just sitting outside at the picnic table waiting on them to come in to make sure they had their sign up in the back, which means they've checked that bus to make sure there's no child left on that bus. When I got back in the building, my school bag had been moved. I had my purse around me. I keep my purse on my shoulder, a crossbody. But my school bag with my lunch and whatever else I need in my bag had been moved from one side of the table to another. My red book that I keep all my notes about the children and their personal information had been moved. And my drink had been moved. And that is what really irritated me the most. Now, here we are post-pandemic, but it's still out here. And you touching my drink? I wouldn't have dare move your food or your drink. What was the purpose? You could have set across from this woman. And then when I came in and I'm looking and my stuff is gone and it's over on the other side, I was like, is this mine over here? And she's like, I don't know whose that is. It took all I could muster to say, look, don't touch nothing of mine. I ain't never touched nothing of yours. If your stuff had been sitting there, I would have found another seat. It's plenty tables and plenty seats in here. You and that lady could have went to another table if y'all had to get up under each other and talk. Y'all were talking something y'all didn't have no business if y'all got to be that close up on each other where y'all couldn't talk across from each other because that's where you put me. I just got, but she knew I wasn't happy because I just picked up my book bag, I picked up my drink, and I walked out. I've never done that before, but I knew I was going to slip. And I didn't want to make a big scene, and there was probably over 100 people in the room, and I'm loud. When I get indignant, I can get loud. So that's the way I handle it. Linda P, some in their opinion may view their, okay, I read that one. Okay. These kids coming in the chat might be depressed. They coming deep. Okay, I done passed my hour anyway, and we're going to pick it back up. Ms.V, like you said, I think my mom would think I would be viewed as crazy. A mom's protection is strong, very strong, and a mother knows her children. I don't care if she had 10 of them. She knew each and every one of them and what they liked and what they needed. Okay, moving on down. We almost made it. I'm watching, says Yo-Yo. Right, Miss V, it's the brain. Yep, and we need to spend more money on our brain, psychological help, because it's so many dysfunctions and so many disorders, which I'm going to let Auntie get into that, and some that people don't recognize. So I just say, stay tuned to yourself, stay true to yourself, and try to figure it all out where you don't get to that point that you do need to be clinically placed somewhere to get the help you need, because it's going to take a long time. And you're going to have to continue with follow-up therapy, not to fall back into that depression that you once hit. Okay. Hey, Pierre, how are you tonight? Yes, Miss V, OCD is very misunderstood. Most people think it's mostly have to do with hand washing. You can repeat anything over and over and over. I have a friend that constantly, she'll go outside with her keys, with everything she needs, but she has to come back in and check everything and make sure that she turn the light off, that the night light is on, or she does have her keys. It can be almost anything in your mind. It's more than washing hands. Kendra's Corner, how are you? Hope different can make the heart sick as well, which is depression in itself. Depression has many forms. Exactly, it does. And like I said, I just want to bring out some information tonight. I'm not a clinical therapist or a psychologist. Whenever Auntie Mimi is ready, we'll come on StreamYard and she can get more in depth and more detail. But be aware that there are stressful life events that can cause depression. It can be genetic. You could have been born with it. It can be in your DNA. Or it can also be a faulty mood regulation from the brain. We don't know what it could be caused from, maybe a major illness or something. Medication that was given to you that didn't agree with you. There are 4 levels of depression that I want you to know, and they are situational, biological, psychological, and existential. All right. Let me see if I have anything else. Depression is considered a disability also under the ADA, which is the Americans with Disabilities Act. Disability would be a physical or a mental health problem that it substantially limits at least one major life activity, and that's how they defined it. This could be working or taking care of yourself. Lack coping skills. With early continuous treatment, people can gain control of their symptoms, feel better, and get back to enjoying their life. This was all I had for tonight. I'm going to read a few more comments and then we are going to depart for the night. Alex, my brother, is OCD and retired from the Army, so you know how that goes. Ooh, we is all I can say. Yes, my oldest brother is military also, and 50 years police. Ooh, we. But I got a little note from my nephew saying that the Monroe Chamber of Commerce is going to honor him. And I got to go look at the date and see if I can make it. He's 81 and he spent 50 years between the police department and the DA's office. And I would like to make it because this is a once in a lifetime thing. Although he's going to pluck my nerves and I know it, but I really would like to go. Okay. Yes, Chef, it is very difficult to manage. Thank you, Kiss the Ring. I appreciate you becoming a beautiful butterfly. Thank you so much. Baby, not a piece of dirt can be in sight of things out of place. OCD kicks in. Baby, move out the way. Yes, indeed. Writing. Let's see. Hey, Keisha Boyd, how are you? For those who are coming in late, please catch the replay. Yep, Ms. V, you have to get OCD under control or it will consume you. Yeah, because you're going to be doing the same thing over and over all day, all night long, waking it up out of your sleep, remembering things and getting up, checking it. Because that's basically what you're doing. Kendra's Corner say, great topic. Yes, and I'm going to stop it right now. Imbalance of serotonin. Yes, Keisha, imbalance of serotonin. Yes. Um, Great Live says, Charlene, I'm shy. I'm going to have to set it aside. I feel that I can share some helpful information on mental health. I'm chatting with my therapist this week about my anxiety nerves to speak in front of y'all. Girl, if you don't forget that mess and put a flower up there and speak behind that flower, a bowl or a saucer, I don't care what you put, and bring us some information that could help somebody out here in the world. That's what we need. Um, Linda P, as usual, an awesome topic. Thank you all. I appreciate each and every one of y'all coming in. It's about that time I get off of here and get myself ready for in the morning. Hit that like bell on the way out for me. We'll come back and we'll finish up with unless y'all have some more questions that maybe Auntie is in the chat, she can answer for you. We'll come back with anxiety and maybe finish up on if I find anything else on depression. Y'all have a wonderful night. Love you much. Take care, and I'll see you later. And thanks for becoming a member also. Much love to you. Good night.